On a white background, bold purple text reads, Lead Beyond Limits. Disability and the New World of Work. Below, Goa, the 10th of October 2025. Organized by. There are 2 rows of logos. Rising Flame. International Purple Fest. Godrej Industries Group. United Nations in India. Office of State Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities Goa. Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Goa. Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Government of India. Inaugural session. Speakers. Nidhi Goyal, Founder and Executive Director, Rising Flame. Pulakita Mayekar. Executive Research and Media, Godrej DEI Lab. Shri Pravamal Abhishek. Managing Director of the Goa Industrial Development Corporation. Mr. Shambhi Sharp, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India. Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Secretary, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities.
So good morning, everyone. Congratulations on making it here in the midst of this busy day. Hello, am I audible? Yeah? Are we ready to start? Yeah? Okay, fantastic. It is such a pleasure to welcome all of you to Lead Beyond Limits, Disability and the New World of Work here at the International Purple Fest in Goa. On behalf of Rising Flame, our partners, the UN in India, the Godrej Industries Group, and the Government of Goa, I extend a very warm welcome. Purple Fest is India's largest celebration of disability inclusion, a festival where leadership, creativity, and access come together in public life. Today, through Lead Beyond Limits, we bring that same energy to conversations about work, about what it means to participate, to lead, and to belong in the economies and workplaces of the future. The world of work is changing every day, shaped by technology, automation, artificial intelligence, and shifting forms of labor. In this unsettled moment, as we build futures from possibilities, the question before us is, how do we lead beyond limits? As new opportunities emerge, all too often old inequities can deepen. We see this tension in boardrooms, in factories, and digital spaces alike. The intersections between technology, inclusion, and leadership will define our future, and we can choose to build systems rooted in equity, not exclusion. For Rising Flame, this is not a new conversation. Our work has always been about representation, accessibility, and justice, ensuring that the global community of persons with disabilities, including women, youth, and gender diverse persons, are not spoken for, but are at the table shaping the agenda. In that spirit, this day is built on collaboration between government, the private sector, global partners, and civil society. As we move through the day, I invite you to hold a few questions close. What does it truly mean to lead beyond limits? How can we make workplaces not just accessible, but places of belonging? And how do we ensure that leadership itself reflects the diversity of the people it serves? At Rising Flame, we have spent years working alongside the disability community, witnessing how opportunity grows when systems open up, when organizations listen, and when people lead with empathy. Every single time, we've seen that inclusion benefits everyone. It strengthens teams, expands creativity, and builds workplaces that are not only productive, but humane. Today's program reflects that belief. The inclusive workplace will show how companies are changing structures and mindsets. Work Unplugged will explore how technology and AI can serve accessibility and equity. And our afternoon Pitch Fest will spotlight disabled entrepreneurs who are redefining leadership itself. The theme, Lead Beyond Limits, then, is both an invitation and a challenge. An invitation to imagine work that is flexible, creative, and deeply human, and a challenge to each of us to move beyond our comfort zones, to question systems that exclude, and to commit to building workplaces where everyone belongs. I look forward to spending the day together, listening to the lived experiences and expertise in this room, learning from the innovations, struggles, and successes shared today, and leading beyond limits together. Thank you, and once again, welcome to Lead Beyond Limits, Disability, and the New World of Work. Now please join me as we welcome our panelists for the inaugural session to the stage. First, Ms. Nidhi Goyal, Founder and Executive Director of Rising Flame. Shri Pravimal Abhishek, Managing Director of Goa Industrial Development Corporation. Ms. Pulakita Mayekar, Executive Research and Media at Godrej DEI Lab. Shri Shailesh Zingdeji, Director of Education, Goa. Mr. Shombi Sharp, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India. And Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Secretary of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. Thank you.
I'll say.
Okay, I guess we have a couple of participants who will join us in just 5 minutes, but I'll turn the stage to Nidhi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shikha, for that very warm welcome and such lovely words. Both an invitation and a challenge. I think that's very, very critical for us to hold together. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you once again on behalf of Rising Flame, UN in India and Godrej Industries Group, our organizers for the day, to really this conversation that's happening but much needed. That's both old and new. We all talk about how many people with disabilities live in this world, and there are these very daunting numbers. हम अगर आंकड़े देखेंगे तो जो विकलांग व्यक्तियों के आंकड़े हैं वो बहुत बड़े हैं, हमारी समझ के परे चले जाते हैं. पर अगर आपको आसानी से समझना है कि विकलांगता हमारी ज़िंदगी में क्यों ज़रूरी है और इस पे हमें जो चर्चा करनी है ये क्यों ज़रूरी है, महत्वपूर्ण क्यों है, ये इसलिए महत्वपूर्ण है क्योंकि हमारी ज़िंदगी में हम जब समाज में देखते हैं तो हर छठा इंसान विकलांग है. There are statistics that tell you that every sixth person in this world lives with a disability. And you'll wonder, you look around in the room and you'll be like, I don't see disabled people. There are people with visible and invisible disabilities. There are people who have shared their disabilities but also are hesitating because of the world that is weaving itself around us, but because of the world that we are building. And that is why it becomes very important for us to do two things like we do at Rising Flame. The twofold strategy is to, one, believe and invest in persons with disabilities. And the second is to work with the ecosystem, right? Because without allies, without friends, in isolation without the ecosystem, no change can happen. And that is why if you see today, we're doing throughout the day both these things. Through our pitch fest, through centering disabled entrepreneurs and their businesses and providing opportunities and monetary rewards, what we're doing is we're believing in them, we're investing in them, we're encouraging them. Through our conversations in the morning, by centering both disabled as well as non-disabled voices, what we are doing is creating an inclusive ecosystem where we know that the world needs to change, businesses need to change, technology needs to be mindful of persons with disabilities, but it can happen only when all of us work together. People with disabilities need to lead from the front, and this is something that we both believe and showcase at Rising Flame. Majority of our team, our consultants, our advisors are people living with disabilities. Again, both visible as well as invisible. And we firmly believe that a community-led team, a leadership when it comes from the margins, is both inclusive as well as empathetic and really takes forward the 2030 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goal, because a leader who comes from the margins and whose voice gets amplified, whose leadership gets centered, ensures that no one is left behind. With these few thoughts, I welcome you once again to this day of exciting conversations, of important reflections, and of course, of a commitment to lead beyond limit, a commitment to foster inclusion, a commitment to believe and invest in persons with disabilities so that they are a part of today as well as tomorrow. There's always a question of, okay, what's the business case of disability inclusion? We don't want to lose out at this point where we're talking about Viksit Bharat, where we're talking about an aim till 2047. We don't want to leave people out. Cost of exclusion is up to 7% of a country's GDP, and inclusion can solve all of this. but we need to invest, believe, and center persons with disabilities, particularly those standing at multiple intersections. So join us today, and thank you, and stay on for some very, very exciting commitments that we'll bring forth, and we'll invite you to join in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nithi. Next. Hello? Yeah, Ms. Pulakita Mayekar, Executive Research and Media at Godrej DEI Lab.
Thank you. A very good morning to everyone present here. I am honored that I am representing the Godrej DI Lab to be a part of this conversation. Before I begin with the theme of the day, let me tell you something about myself. Not about me today, but me 5 years ago. Smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, I was in my second year of undergrad. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was on par with my peers. I always felt in the classroom that I was behind them, but because I was in the comfort of my own home, I felt that I am finally catching up to them. I'm not miserable anymore. You see, growing up with a disability, life always had an undercurrent of hostility and misery in the outside world. It never felt like the outside world was made for me. So 5 years later, to sit here and talk amongst you is a great honor for me. A year ago, I joined the Godrej DI Lab, and within this year, I have realized that not only do I have the strength to explore and make this outside world mine, I have the strength to find joy in it. And a lot of the strength comes from my team members at the Godrej DI Lab. So I'll tell you now a bit about ourselves, our lab. So the Godrej DI Lab is incubated within the Godrej Industries Group. We are a bunch of creators, imaginators who work on inclusion within the Godrej group of companies and in the larger world. We mainly focus on 3 cohorts: women, the LGBTQIA community, and persons with disability. We internally nudge our teams to make the workplace more inclusive through workshops, through trainings, and more. We bring together visionaries from our 6 group companies to solve for problems of exclusion. Externally, we partner with think tanks, NGOs, government organizations to find solutions for exclusion within the larger world. We also advocate for inclusion through our podcast, our website, our numerous reports and events that you also may have attended. But why do all of this? Why is a DEI lab needed? What role does diversity, equity, and inclusion play in business? Business is just about numbers, right? Well, to put it from a numbers perspective, DEI helps us tap into a larger talent pool, a talent pool that is under-researched and hungry for growth, a talent pool that's ready to solve the problems not just of today, but of tomorrow. Once this talent pool is into the ecosystem, cultures get shift and the workplace becomes fairer for all. Once the workplace becomes fairer, barriers are removed, then that creates an ecosystem for innovation. And that is where we believe the real power of DEI lies. You see, the point of DEI is not just mere representation in the room. It's also about a group of people coming together, collaborating and putting their diverse abilities to use and solve for exclusionary barriers. Create a world that makes us belong and makes us feel like were all part of it. This and innovation will ultimately allow us to serve this larger group that is often marginalized in the market. And this is not just about profit, it's also a moral imperative that allows us to do the right thing. At the group companies, individual group companies are doing their own attempts at it. I will tell you some of the initiatives that they have begun. At the Godrej Properties Limited, we have tons of initiatives under the Disable Me banner. It started in January 2024 with the Disable Me awareness campaign, which featured the video game character Mario trying to navigate the workplace as a person with disability. Using the visuals from the video game, we highlighted how people with different disabilities encounter barriers in the workplace. This Disable Me initiative sprung into a Disable Me ERG internship program, and now we are also developing the Disable Me Echo, an AI-enabled sign language interpreter. We also have at the Godrej Properties the Beyond Barriers Accessibility Playbook that guides designers on how to build accessible homes for all. This is how we solve for the larger population and include everyone in the dialogue. At Godrej Capital, we have launched the Enable Inclusion Program, a program which hosts a bunch of things under it. The Enable ERG helps people with disability advocate for themselves at the workplace. The Enable Dialogue allows for a platform for people with disabilities within the company to voice their stories. At Godrej Consumer Products, we are leading the conversation on persons with disabilities in manufacturing. In 2024, we opened a hiring drive for persons with disability in our Vindhya and Nilgiri plants. As of now, we have around 20 persons with disability at these plants. At our Tamil Nadu factories, we have committed towards 5% representation of persons with disability. And GCPL is not just leading conversations in India, but globally. At Godrej Consumer Products Indonesia, we have started the Bersia program to train the next generation of disability advocates and leaders. We take the young generation from today and hone them into the skills that will help them solve the problems of tomorrow. Godrej Chemicals is also on the way to their inclusion journey. At Godrej Chemical, we have just welcomed our first cohort of persons with disability on the factory floor in Ambernath in Mumbai. We are expecting another cohort this year in Valia in Gujarat. The whole point of this endeavor, this gathering of us coming together and understanding why disability inclusion should be a imperative in the workplace is because I feel like the common adage, nothing about us without us, is no longer enough. And I'll explain what that means. Nothing about us without us sort of conveys that we are separate from the larger world, but we are not. I feel like the conversation should be nothing without us, because we experience the whole human life. We are people who go to the malls, who buy soaps, who buy houses, healthcare, we eat ice cream. We do everything that a person without disability may do. And which is why we need to solve for problems that not just people with disability face in isolation, because we don't only experience disability. Our experiences go much beyond that. Which is why I feel like if we are to lead beyond disability, we need to look beyond limitation. as a framework within disability inclusion. And that is the thought I would like to leave you with.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Um, can you please pass the mic next to you? And we'll hear from Mr. Shombi Sharp, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India.
Yes, thank you very much. Mujhe yaha bulane ke liye dhanyavad. It's a great honor to be here taking part in this panel, this discussion. I'd like to thank, of course, the colleagues at Rising Flame and Rising Flame colleagues and Godrej Industries group as well, Government of Goa, the Government of India. I believe Secretary Agrawal will hopefully be joining us shortly. But everybody here in the room, the representatives from organizations of persons with disabilities, the international partners that we have here with us today, colleagues from the UN. I mean, it's really a great collective and representatives from business and industry. I think, just to start, I mean, it's difficult to add to what's already been said because really the colleagues here have covered a lot. But I think one is just to step back and consider the scale. One of challenges, which is that our global sustainable development goals are very much off track. 2/3 are off track to 2030. Here in India, we speak about 2047, Viksit Bharat. And I see SDGs 2030, 2047 as two stepping stones on exactly the same path. So we need to achieve the same things, with that larger goal in mind. And yet, so we can say challenges and opportunities. We consider persons with disabilities. And, absolutely, it's not like a marginal population or something off on the side or, it's absolutely, it is population, it is people, it is humanity. And, at least 1.4 billion people in the world. Like, that's the size of India. Here in India, we know that the official statistics, assessments are quite low, 2.2%, something like that. But according to global estimates, we expect that number would be more about 15%, something like that. No reason India would be any exception. So that's, you're talking well over 200 million people. That's enormous. People with networks, with communities, with families, with, so much, much beyond 200 million people as well. So that the power of the community in all respects, in terms of being human capital, being talent to drive the economy forward when we really need a whole of society inclusion to deliver on aspirations, economic aspirations, social aspirations, that's enormous. The power of that broader community as a consumer base and as influencing decisions in so many respects is really vital. Nidhi already mentioned that the lack of inclusion, because of these things coming together, the lack of inclusion, it's estimated, is costing economies, including India, but across the world, enormously. I mean, 7% of GDP, it's numbers are thrown around like that. It's hard to really imagine what that is. But, you see when an economy drops by 1% because of a crisis, COVID or something, that's an absolutely enormous amount. So imagine 7 times that. So the opportunity there is great. Estimated $13 trillion in value could be created by inclusion. In India alone, $250 billion estimated could be achieved by inclusion as well. And then, linking India's development, also the built environment comes very much into view. So, of course, inclusion is not just about physical access, but that's a very important part of it. And India is at the moment still, growing so rapidly. I think 2/3 of India's cities have yet to be built. That's hard to imagine. So if India gets it right in terms of inclusive, sustainable infrastructure now, then that will really have an impact at the global, truly. So finally, the business case, I think is so very, very clear. From smart cities to assistive technologies, India is very well positioned to become a global hub in terms of assistive technologies because you have so much great innovation, dynamic business here, industries as well. We in the UN are very proud to partner with government, with private sector, with organizations of persons with disabilities around making what we have, the UN Disability Inclusion Strategy, come to life. And of course, that's the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities as well. And that very much includes inclusive hiring, reaching out, bringing barriers down like that. I'm very proud that my office, we've been able to live true to the word, have colleagues with disability as well. But just finally to say that this really requires, why I'm so pleased that Godrej is here, is that this, like all of the SDGs, we know, government plays a vital important role of setting, the vision, providing the incentives, the enabling framework. Civil society is there, very important aspect, filling in all those pieces. At the end of the day, it is going to be business that is going to do the heavy lifting, make the difference in terms of the investments, in terms of the hiring, decent livelihoods and opportunities, including for persons with disabilities. So let me especially thank Godrej for representing the very dynamic Indian business in this market. Thank you very much. Bahut dhanyavad. And very pleased to see, I think that's a perfect segue, introduction to our wonderful partner, Secretary Agarwal, who's really been such an inspiring leader at the central government level, making so many things possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are going to go next to Shri Pravimal Abhishek, Managing Director of Goa Industrial Development Corporation. But I'll just pause for a moment and welcome to the stage Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Secretary of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities.
Good morning, everyone. To all the dignitaries and also the delegates present here. My best wishes, and I'm really honored and privileged to be present and be speaking as a part of this International Purple Festival. Just to briefly introduce myself, I'm an IAS officer of 2017 batch. I'm currently working in Goa as the Managing Director of Goa Industrial Development Corporation, and also looking after the Transport Department as its Director. So because there's a lot of discussion about the Sustainable Development Goals and also the inclusion, I'd like to share a very small experience from my previous posting, where I worked as the collector in Arunachal Pradesh for almost 3 years. And I worked in one of the most remotest districts of Arunachal Pradesh. I used to call it as the Arunachal of the Arunachal. And especially, I was like focused on how do I ensure that the local agrarian economy kickstarts. And I was trying to, engage a lot of young people to take up some of the other businesses, but I couldn't find any response from anyone. But I've noticed that the entire women in that society, their social and economic role is confined to their household. So that's when I thought, like, why don't we, unlock this potential? And we did a 2.5 to 3 years of focused program on collectivizing the women's, creating, doing capacity building, creating confidence in them, giving them opportunities so that they can lead the economy from the front. And it has been an amazing learning experience for me about inclusion, because I always saw inclusion as a means to achieving something, like, for example, better economic growth or better contribution to the GDP. But one day when I was speaking to a few women who don't even know how to read and write, because they had to be a part of these economic discussions and doing businesses, bookkeeping and all, we also taught them about basic arithmetic, basic writing and reading skills. And one woman told me that the greatest achievement she had is the fact that she's able to write the name of her son. And whatever symbols that she has been seeing on various signboards, books, or newspapers, today actually makes sense to her that this is English, this is A, B, C, or whatever it is. I think that remained in my mind so deeply, and it made me truly believe that it's not just a means to something, but inclusion and in itself. And in a democracy where we have a constitution like ours, I think while we do talk a lot about the how it can lead to better economic growth, we also need to ensure that it is something that is an end in itself. Now, I also want to share my experience about how Purple Fest, after coming to Goa, I've been in Goa for almost 2.5 years now, and how Purple Fest and also my interaction with Mr. Taha, Secretary of the Commissionerate here, how that changed my perspective a lot. Because I'm an engineer myself, and I graduated from IIT Madras with a mechanical engineering and a product design specialization. So when I came to Purple Fest and when I saw all these discussions about inclusion and engineering design, I was like deeply shocked because while we studied a lot about ergonomics, product design, and ensuring that products are designed according to the Indian standards, Indian body measurements, human body measurements, and all these things, there was never a discussion in our curriculum about whether we are designing products for inclusion or not. I think that is the biggest eye-opener for me. So I started, committing myself for this cause, and given the position that I have in, I decided that whatever opportunity comes my way, we'll try to make a difference to ensure that there is accessibility and inclusion, in any aspect. So immediately I conducted a workshop for entire staff of IDC, especially the field managers, so that they can at least get sensitized about what this discussion about inclusion and accessibility is. Similarly, I also organized a workshop with all the RTOs in the state of Goa, with all the KTCL management in the in our state, so that they can also be sensitized about what is inclusion and what is accessibility. And my learnings from that is that there's a lot of capacity building required within the government as to why inclusion and accessibility are extremely critical for ensuring the governance reaches every single person. Then I took it as an initiative to mandate that henceforth, whatever procurement that KTCL does and whatever changes that KTCL does, everything is designed to ensure universal accessibility. We are launching a new app for KTCL, and we have put a clear condition that it should be designed so that persons with different abilities will also be able to use that app seamlessly and independently. Lastly, being the MD of Goa IDC, I've been working on trying to promote entrepreneurs from the disability communities, but I would require some knowledge partners for this to help me do that. So on this session, again, Madam, I would like to request you, if you can come with some good initiative or a proposal, let's say we create like a small industrial park, or like ready-built structures, or small industrial sheds that could be used by people with different abilities to start some businesses. I'm very, very happy to do that as a part of, as MD IDC. We will finance the whole project, we will construct the ecosystem, and we will, ensure that it happens. So I will eagerly wait for some sort of feedback from you, because I think if knowledge partners help us to learn how to do it, I think we can do it in a better way. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a great and honor to be here, and thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much, Shri Pravimal Abhishek, for those inspiring words and right up front commitments. Looking forward to hearing more as the day goes forward. Now we'd love to hear from Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Secretary of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. I will just make one comment and then maybe one question from Nidhi and two questions from the audience, so that we cover more topics. The young officer here was talking about design issue. So 3 years back, during first Purple Fest, I saw first Neo Motion wheelchair. So IIT Madras incubated. So Zomato was here. The first delivery boy, they put him on that Neo Motion, gave him the Zomato badge. And today, last month I visited Zomato's headquarters at Manesar. We have 15,000 plus, in less than 3 years, 15,000 plus boys and girls from Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon, Flipkart and others in 50 plus cities across the country. I remember an event in Gurgaon, maybe 6-7 months ago, so where Neo Motion got Indian Oil to sponsor 30-40 and Zomato was there. So I asked one lady who was about maybe 30 years old, कि कैसा लग रहा है आपको? She said, sir, इस पे बैठ के शर्म नहीं आती. Now that's a very, very telling comment. Assistive device ऐसा होना चाहिए which brings dignity. जिसको use करने में शर्म ना लगे, dignified approach हो. So design means basically this. And I'm very happy that more and more companies, even our Alimco is trying to emulate this. कि चीज़ें अच्छी हों, यूज़फुल हों, यूज़र फ्रेंडली हों, उसके लिए यूज़र मैनुअल ना पढ़ना पड़े, दे शुड बी सो इंट्यूटिव एंड जिसको यूज़ करने में शर्म ना लगे. सो आई वांटेड टू स्टार्ट विद दिस कमेंट एंड अगेन माय रिक्वेस्ट टू यंग फ्रेंड हियर इज that I was recently at AMTZ, Andhra Medical Tech Zone in Vizag. They have 160 companies, out of which 10 plus are working on assistive devices. And I think that's the way to go in the country. And I am sure a lot of very good products are going to come out of that zone. So Nidhi, one question from you and 2 questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, sir. So thank you for your presence, first of all. Thank you for being here and encouraging us. आज का जो विषय है सर, लीड बियॉन्ड लिमिट्स, डिसेबिलिटी इन द न्यू वर्ल्ड ऑफ वर्क. न्यू वर्ल्ड ऑफ वर्क में हम जो फोकस भी करना चाह रहे हैं वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे करना चाह रहे हैं. सो डिसेबल्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो खुद के बिजनेसेस ड्राइव करना चाहते हैं, स्टार्टअप्स ओपन किए हैं, सिर्फ एक्सेसिबिलिटी सोल्यूशंस नहीं सर. यहाँ पर हमारे पास है somebody who's running a masala business, somebody who's running a film making company, people who have accessibility solution startups. So your message and your encouragement and some policy support for them, sir, for disabled entrepreneurs, if you could shed some light on that, and then we'll turn over to the audience.
Okay, great. So the example I gave was, now many of them are becoming beyond delivery boys and girls. Once they have this, for example, this lady told me that I will take tuitions also and earn more money. And also, I think events like these bring very diverse people who are role models in the community also. I met a boy called Divyanshu, a young man Divyanshu from Pune, again 6-7 months in some conference in Bangalore, I guess. He told me, sir, I am totally blind, but I do paragliding. He said, मैं आपको paragliding लेके जाऊँगा. मैंने कहा, तुम रास्ते में पेड़ पे टांग देगा, you can't see, how do you paraglide? And he told me, if a bat can fly, I can fly. And he takes people for scuba diving also. So sometimes we don't realize as a general population that people with some disabilities, they have other abilities also. Sometimes our mind only gets focused on the disability part. So whatever ability anyone has, it's our duty as a society, as a government, to make sure that they get good opportunities to do that. Giving loans, etc. is one, but I think main thing is that telling parents, telling teachers, telling society that they can do a lot of things. And then basically exposing everyone in society to a lot of role models from the community. Many of them would be entrepreneurs. I think that will automatically mean that a child with disability grows up without any inhibitions and is free to reach his or her potential.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Can we have volunteers to circulate?
Yes, we have 3-4 hands, but पहले इधर से शुरू करते हैं. 1-2 more hands there.
Circulate to 2 points.
So, I must say, I'll set a context before the question, sir. That is, in last 11 years and starting from your tenure as a secretary, sir, we have seen massive changes in the psyche of the disability inclusion in the sector and the bureaucracy. So, sir, I strongly believe, and I want to hear your comment on this, sir, that I strongly believe that disability sector needs to now get recognized as a service sector, because we for long has been got the recognition for the charitable sector or charity-based sector. Now coming up with Shombi's discussion of the economic growth that is hampering and the things that you are telling, sir, how can we make an announcement of disability sector is a service sector, not a charity sector?
That is the narrative we are trying to change for last 3 years at least, that disability sector is beyond just charity and welfare and दया भाव. तो जो कहते भी हैं कि हमें दयानी अवसर चाहिए, I think that's very apt. तो कोशिश तो यही है कि we educate everyone that we need to shift the focus to basically more products and services. And again, जो पर्पल इकोनॉमी की भी बात होती है, one is products and services for children or youth or old age people with disabilities. So that's a very big market also. There's an economic context to it also. And frankly, many products and services will evolve only when there is a market. Subsidy-based interventions only go to some extent and sometimes they distort the market. So I think that is one market which is evolving. And second, obviously, when 2% or 5% of 10 or 10% estimates vary, that if that many people in society have some kind of disability, so they have a lot to contribute to society, economically also. So I believe that except for maybe 10% children with profound deficiency or impairment of some kind, 80 to 90% other children or youth with disabilities, given the right kind of environment and devices and services, they can prove to be very productive members of society also. So I think that really needs to be pushed. That narrative needs to be pushed.
Sir, good morning. Ketan from Mumbai. हम लोग स्पेशलाइज्ड एक्सेसिबिलिटी आइटम्स की बात कर रहे हैं ज़्यादातर, बट ये दिन हम देखना चाहते हैं कि हमारे जो मेन स्ट्रीम आइटम्स हैं दे बाय डिज़ाइन एक्सेसिबल हों, और क्या उसके लिए डिपार्टमेंट और सरकार कुछ योजनाएं बना सकती है, क्योंकि हम स्वदेशी की बात कर रहे हैं लेकिन हमारी ज़्यादातर चीज़ें आज भी बाहर से आ रही हैं और वो बाहर के ऑडियंस के लिए बनी हुई हैं, तो भारतीय भाषाएं अभी ज़्यादा सपोर्टेड नहीं हैं, या हैं तो भी बड़े अधकचे तरह से है. तो क्या इस विषय में कुछ डिपार्टमेंट की पहल हो रही है क्या सर?
देखिए, यूनिवर्सल बेसिक डिज़ाइन की देयर इज़ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन ऑन इट, एंड द मोस्ट फेमस एग्जांपल इज़ जो फुटपाथ और रोड के बीच में कर्ब साइड छोटा सा रैंप होता है, कि दैट इज़ यूजफुल नॉट ओनली फॉर पीपल ऑन व्हील चेयर्स, इट इज़ यूजफुल इवन व्हेन यू आर पुशिंग ए शॉपिंग कार्ट और ए मदर इज़ पुशिंग ए प्रैम ऑन इट. For example, Indigo ramp, that's a very good example of universal design. Now, many times if the aeroplane does not have an aero bridge and you have to use the stairs, and if you are using carrying 8 kg suitcase with you, so climbing down stairs of Air India or Vistara is tough, but Indigo has a ramp, so everyone uses it. Old age people also, they find it more useful, so not only for wheelchairs. So these are classic examples of universal design, but now more people are talking of universal accessible websites, universally accessible education material, so a school book available in very different formats so that anyone can use it. Again, many people try to take it to extreme, how to have a universal accessible microwave or universal accessible toothbrush. I think there some variations will remain, but there are many products which can be designed for more and more people without actually incurring much cost on it.
Sir, good morning, and it's wonderful to be here. My name is Jay. Been affected by leprosy and cured. And so my, जब आपने बोला कि उसको use करने को शर्म नहीं आती है, so leprosy is a situation where you have sharam within yourself because you got leprosy. And even the family has. I'm one of the lucky ones whose family was great, and that's why I'm normal. So my push has been, and I have been doing this in a very smallish circle of people affected by leprosy and people who work, that leprosy be treated as two diseases. One is the germ part, which gets cured by MDT. The other is what is left behind. Like, I'm still careful to use my right hand near the stove, but I can afford to have help and stuff. But there are people who keep getting debilitated as days go by, and it's very tragic. So I just want to push for a possibility of a different, even, a kind of a section in the leprosy world where this is treated as a separate disease by itself. And I'm really pushing for that because I've always spoken for so many decades within a small circle. The first time I'm here in a big place where everything about disability is being honored. So I just want to have a personal, meeting with you if possible. I want to just push this with you, and I'm also happy to see Mr. Shombi here. And I'm just proposing that we look at it very strongly because, you see, I've met people who are beggars. And in a meeting they were saying, why do you beg? And I stood up and told, what else can they do? They learn to beg because that's the only trade they have known. They were pushed out of the communities at the age of 7 to 8. So I just want to say that we have to look at it a little more compassionately. And also, even today, I get letters from people, mails and WhatsApp messages saying, I have so much percentage disability, but my state looks at me and says, what is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with you. We cannot give you. So they struggle for a simple thing called disability certificate just to get that humble 2,000 rupees per month pension. So it's very painful to see all that. So any support?
Okay, I don't know whether publicly I should touch upon the very controversial type of topic of stigma. But here also I see a massive change in society. During my generation, I'm now 59 years. So we never saw other children with disability in our lives. I remember having a friend named Vivek in 6th standard who had polio. So we used to see a few kids with polio in school. Other children were either in special schools or kept at home. And it had to do with a lot of stigma, guilt, shame, or sense of isolation amongst parents. कि बच्चे को छुपा के रखना है. It could be not this, maybe a sense of overprotection. Even today, many parents overprotect their kids with disabilities, especially girls with disabilities. That also we need to talk about more and change the thing. After joining this sector 3 years back, then some of my very old friends, even from IAS, at least 3-4 of them told me, taking me by side, not publicly, Rajesh, I want to tell you my child, my boy or girl also has autism, or he or she has this. So I was friends with them for 35 years, but unaware of this, that there is a family member at home who has a disability. But now I see young parents, 25 years old, 30 years old, they don't keep their children with disability at home. They bring them out to society, they take them to society park, they may face bullying with other children, they have to fight with the school principals, but they say, no, my child has a right to study in inclusive school. So that scenario is changing. The young parents, that's a good Western value we are adopting now, that young parents don't feel this shame or guilt or stigma, they take it, theek hai. This is a situation, now let's try to change it. I think this narrative also needs to be pushed more. Second, unfortunately, diseases like leprosy, now TB stigma is going down. 3 years back at our home, my wife had a suspicion that our cook, the lady who stays with us, that she probably has a TB. It turned out she had TB. But we started her medicine and she continued cooking for us. And now she's absolutely all right. The point is now these attitudes are also changing. So in leprosy, I had a video interaction with Miraj Center 2-3 weeks back. And I was very happy that the kind of instruments, gadgets they are giving, they again bring dignity. वो कहते पहले जो सैंडल देते थे वो आइडेंटिफाई हो जाते थे, स्टिग्मा होता था. अभी हम जो स्लीपर्स दे रहे हैं, they are actually very fashionable kind of slippers, which don't bring stigma. I think these things are important. I am talking to a lot of people, AIMS people also, a lot of other people also, regarding giving cosmetic fingers to patients with leprosy and where the skin tone matches. So we have to use multiple methods to ensure that people get blended or accepted by the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And now we'll be in a moment of congratulations and transition. So I'd like to welcome Shri Parmesh Shahani, head of Godrej DEI Lab, to present some gifts to our guests. And then I ask you all to just stay up front, the panelists, and Parmesh for a photo, please.
On a black background is the Rising Flame logo. Below there is text. Find us online. Instagram, @RisingFlameNow. Twitter, /X @RisingFlameNow. LinkedIn, Rising Flame. Facebook, Rising Flame.